now it works on YouTube as well. Nice. Let me grab my headphones real quick. Nice. Let's see if we can find some YouTube ideas. Let's see. I mean, I think that where I primarily want to go in this space is finance, health / fitness, I suppose. And maybe some life coaching-ish. I mean, at least know that take this here, take that there. Nice. I think at least this is where I want to go in the space. At least that I did find it quite enjoyable. That I mean, I used to help university students trying to figure out where they want to go. Like, how do they how do you say it? Like, where do they go from there? What do they need to get into the degrees that they want, or like just how to get through with life, how to do the CVs and such. So I suppose there could be some type of stuff, but let's explore. Let's see. Last time we took a look, let's try and see which different ideas there are. Yesterday we took a look at this channel, for instance, where we took a look at some of his popular videos to try to see if we can find something there. Give me a second. So I remember this video that I think was quite good, and sorry about the ads.
Wait, before you run away thinking this is about creating a budget, just hang on a second. This is not about creating a fancy budget that you'll have to maintain every single day for the rest of your life. I don't want to sit there and track the price of broccoli or cans of soup or even coffee. Forget it. I hate budgeting. But how much are you supposed to be spending in certain areas? What if you really love travel? How can you take amazing trips and...
Stressing.
I've made millions of people rich, and I want to make you rich too. I'm going to walk you through my step-by-step playbook on exactly how to set up your finance.
I like this idea, like step by step playbook to do X. I mean, I think in general, I don't think that this is something that's necessarily like unique to finance. But I think that they can probably also be applied here, maybe. Let's say step-by-step playbook to like, how to do a fitness routine or something like that. I mean, even though I might not be Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'm still like I'm still fairly well trained. I have a decent physique, if I should say so myself. I say it's just finance playbook 2. A great physique. And now I can spell physique. I couldn't think this a bit easier, a bit different. But I think this is overall pretty good. And pretty good start, at least. So step-by-step playbook to do stuff.
You know exactly how much you can spend, pay, and I think that's good because that falls within a lot of money. We also don't factor in things like tax refunds or unexpected income, which we can all.
What else? What else does he have? How to have better finances. I think this could be an interesting video as well, talking about houses and real estate, but I mean, I've never owned a house or had any real estate before in my entire life, so I don't think that that's a topic that I can say too much about. Plus, I mean, when I live in Denmark, then it's also a bit disconnected from the rest of the world, since we have much different tax rules. And if I wanted to understand everything else, then I would have to understand better Canadian law and American law or British law and all that kind of stuff, and that doesn't seem like that's something I really want to do, to be quite honest. $25 in 6 months.
money is going without tracking every latte. Imagine hitting your savings and investing goals, making money decisions with total confidence, all aligned with how you want to live your life. I've helped millions of people, bus drivers, teachers, millionaires, make that a reality, and now it's your turn. I'm going to show you the exact step-by-step system that's going to work for you. You can spread it out over 6 months or tackle it in 1 month for a fast start. Your pace, your choice. But listen closely. If you can't give me 10 minutes of your attention as I cover the first month of this plan, which has the most important action steps, I'm going to struggle to help you. So let's get to work.
Build the foundation of your rich life. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it seems like that this is probably the steps on how do you split your different, how do you split your income into different buckets to get a better life. And this is pretty coherent with the, I think it's called 50-30-20 rule, I think. Like where 50 goes to fixed costs and 30 goes to savings and investments and 20 goes to like fun and what he is calling, what Ramit is called guilt-free spending. Okay, I think I'm probably gonna put a new bucket called general ideas. Because I think these different ideas can go into, can apply to multiple different categories. I don't think it has to be like only one to say. Set up, finance, let's live happier life maybe. You can change your finances. Like, you can do X. Here's how. So you can do something, and this is how you do it. Yeah, I think this is essentially the same idea. It's like, this is my playbook to get X done. You can do X. Here's how. I feel like that this is probably more, this is like for one specific thing, while this is more for general, but he does add a time frame as well. "15 little experiments that can change your life." How to negotiate your salary. Maybe. I'm not sure it's how to negotiate your salary is something that people are likely interested into watching, but maybe. That is something I can cover. I mean, I've been through a couple of salary negotiation rounds, both with salary increases and when I got hired. And yeah, I mean, essentially, salary negotiations come down to if you can prove how much you're worth by using either. You can do it different ways. I mean, if you're asking for salary negotiations, for instance, where I've been there for quite a while, then you can use the results that you have accomplished throughout the time frame you've been there, like 1 or 2 years. And if you're otherwise another way to like objectively say how much you're worth, you can also use salary statistics in this case. So if you have been, let's say that you are a software engineer with a bachelor's degree and 3 years of experience, then I will try to compare yourself against how much does other software engineers that has a bachelor degree and been in their full-time career for 3 years, how much do they earn? And then you can have all kinds of niches. I mean, are you a Java developer? Are you a Python developer? Are you a Cobalt developer, for instance? I mean, that also has an influence on how much you can actually earn. But paycheck routine. Maybe. Paycheck routines. Oh, gurus. That's a good one. Why you? I think this is a general one. I mean, this could be finance for financial gurus, but it can also be like life coaching. Like if you're listening to someone like, let's say, Ty Lopez, Grant Cardone, Andrew Tate, someone else that promises you that they have the life that you want. You just have to work hard and all that kind of stuff. Then like just cover those just covering those type of gurus. English is hard. Oof. Reacting to TikToks, maybe. Reacting to TikToks. Oh, next topic. That's a fairly easy format, I think. And I mean, I personally like them. I mean, I find it quite nice when experts they listen to different advice there is on the different platforms, and then they give their opinion on if that's good or if that's something that people want. Or if there's something that they would want to do. Improve your social skills. I can definitely not do that. Oh, that was 12 years ago. Oh, he's old. The problem with fire movement. I think those are also good. Problem with X idea. Fire movement, for instance. Yeah, I can stress it. You can get 6-pack abs, for instance, or you can be happier, maybe. You can do a pull-up, for instance, yourself. Something like that. Oh. Finance gurus, life gurus, any type of guru really. Finance, life ideas, health, all that kind of stuff. Alright, let's try another one. What about the plain bagel? That's another finance YouTuber that I really recommend people take a look at. Oh, also editing live streams. Oh. That seems like a good idea. The Great Depression. It seems like it's before that he showed his face.
Quick to forget the tragedies of the past. Yet valuable lessons are to be had. After 4 years of conflict, the First World War is finally over. We'll have a salary to spend, and happily collecting the interest. Even though the economy is looking worse,
Yeah, he doesn't show his face at all. How short selling works. The passive income scam. There can be another one. Scams. I like how most of these are fairly general ideas. Like this can also be like here you can cover multiple things like passive income, scam, $1,000,000 lifestyle scam is also one, and let's say maybe easy 6-pack app scam. I mean that's also something that can be covered over multiple different things. Canadian housing crisis explained. How to win stock exchange. I think this is a bit above my level though. Stock options explained. reacting to movies. Yeah, he covers like more advanced topics. So I think this is probably a bit above my level, probably. Let's see, are there other finance YouTubers that I like? Nisha as well. But I did really not cover that I don't really follow that many different financial YouTubers. But I suppose the reason for that would also be that that like easy sustainable finance is actually quite boring. It's not actually that interesting. So it's kind of like I mean, but the most basic financial advice usually comes down to like have 50% of your income for fixed cost, have around 30% for savings and investments, and then have around 20% for just fun stuff. And the rest of it is more or less just trying to get there where you can do it. Like maybe move somewhere else where it's a bit cheaper, try to buy less expensive food, maybe try to look more for discounts, that kind of stuff. So once you are there, you are more or less, then you have a trajectory where you're more or less set for life, where you can just keep going. So it's just that. I mean, it's like, don't have it set yourself too hard in fixed cost. Invest and save around 30% of your paycheck, and then have 20% to spend on fun. So you also remember to enjoy yourself and actually enjoy life, instead of just sit in a fancy car that you can barely afford, for instance. So that's more or less all the financial advice most individuals need, and from there it's more or less just pure extra. Then it's just a bunch of tips. It's a bunch of tips and tricks on how do you actually get there to where you get to that point. So that's one of the things that most financial YouTubers do, and then most of the financial YouTubers that I see, they usually fall down the rabbit hole of trying to figure out which new crypto coin is going to explode, or which stock is going to explode, or which stock will fall in a moment, and just have a bunch of extreme stuff to gather views, because that's just how it is. And most financial YouTubers and advisors, they know that personal finance is boring, and it should also be boring. So, and that's about how it is. Okay, let's see. Which popular topics does she have? Money habits keeping you poor. Let's see. Money habits that keep you poor / prevent you from being rich. I mean, I suppose that what you would cover there is I mean, I know a lot of financial YouTubers, what they do is that they are really attacking people on the fact that they buy a fairly expensive coffee every day. And I'm sure that's probably some of the points that she will probably cover in that video. And then I would imagine that is probably also not keeping track of where do your money go. That would probably also be one that I think that would be fairly high up. What else? Maybe having unnecessarily well, English is hard. Maybe having unnecessarily expensive stuff that maybe she will probably cover, that maybe you have a car while you could probably take public transport instead, which would probably be way cheaper. I mean, I know, for instance, that I use public transport just because it is way cheaper. Not exactly rocket science there. So I don't have a car for that reason. That is just more expensive. And plus, my workplace is also in the city, so and you are never convincing me to actually drive in the city. That's going to be absolutely awful, I think. But yeah. How car dealerships rip you off. I am definitely not going to talk about car dealerships because I know absolutely nothing about car dealerships. I read 40 books on money. Here's what will make you rich. Yeah, I don't read too many books, so I don't think that I'm gonna be the next person who is going to walk through a bunch of books for sure. 9 things to stop buying to make more money. I have a feeling that these two videos are quite similar, to be honest. Maybe that. More money. Or maybe, or don't think is worth the money. That might be one. Signs you're doing well financially, even if it doesn't feel like it. I like the idea behind the video like that. It's because I mean, I think that in the current world that we are living in, where we have financial gurus left and right, then I think that it can be quite difficult to actually know how well you're doing financially if everything you see online is people driving around in cars or having fancy mansions, have luxury watches, all that. Then even if you are doing very financial well, like you're doing, like the average person, you're average, like most people are average. So I think that a lot of people can maybe think that they're not doing financially well, even if they are, just because of what they see online. So I think that that's probably a good message to have. Signs you're doing financially well, even if it doesn't feel like it. Now I just have to figure out how do I twist it just so I don't steal the ideas. Like flat out just steal it. How to manage your money like the 9%. Or the 1%. Maybe. Middle class habits keeping you in the red race. 17 tiny habits that made me rich. "17 habits that made me rich." That's a lot of habits to make you rich, I would say. What about 17 habits that make me rich then? Habits that kept me I would say rich is a strong word because I'm definitely not rich. I'm not poor either, but I'm not rich. Out of, how do I say it? Let's see. Habits that kept me financially free, maybe. Slash out of poverty. That's pretty good, I think. Why net worth skyrockets after 100k. That is so true. And the main reason that I haven't watched the video, as you can probably see since the red bar is not there, but I would assume that what she's going to cover is that money in general grows exponentially. Or exponentially. English is hard. But so what does that mean? That means when you earn maybe let's say $100, then those $100 will earn you more money, and then the money that you earn from those $100 will all earn you more money again. So you just kind of have like a pile of cash that just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, that was probably not the best explanation. I think I'm gonna start over. Okay, I think it's easier to understand why net worth skyrockets after 100k is primarily due to the compounding effect that money have. And I think that's probably the easiest way to explain this is by using it in investments. Because everyone who invests regularly or have looked into it just a little bit, they probably know the term compounding interest. And what that means is essentially that, let's say, I think S&P 500, the general rule is that will earn you like 8 to 10% every year. So let's say that you put like $100 into the S&P 500. Then after 1 year, you would have earned 10% on those $100. That means you now have $110 because 10% of $10, well, 10% of $100 is $10. Then the next year you earn 10% again, but you don't earn 10% of $100 anymore. You earn 10% of $110 instead. That means that the second year you don't earn $10, you earn $11 instead, because 10% of $110 is $11. And then it just keeps going on like that So now you have $121 after year 2. And what does that mean? That means on year 3, you will earn 10% again, but you will earn 10% of the $121 that you earned from year 2, which then means, if my head math is correct, you will earn roughly $12.01, I think, something like that, on a year 3. And then you can just see how this keeps growing. And that's why when you hit like 100K, for instance, you have a very large number in your investment portfolio, then those $100 will just keep growing exponentially and just keep growing faster and faster and faster and faster and faster every year that passes by. So that's the main reason why net worth tends to skyrocket after you hit a very high number. And I think that's also pretty true when I look at my own investment portfolio. It's like, give me a second. Yeah, I would take a look at all time, for instance. And it's like I started investing in around 2021, and that at 2022 I was minus 4% due to COVID, and then at the end of that year I was minus 10% due to Russia and Ukraine. But after that, then at the start of 2024, I was up 23%. And then at the start of 2025, I was up 53%, like 53% profits, which is primarily just due to the two financial crises due to both COVID and Russia and Ukraine. Then usually when you have a couple of bad years, then usually it tends to skyrocket after. Just because now it's safe, now people are throwing all their money in again. So I think that's definitely one thing people could do. How do I... How do I delete messages? Alright, I'll figure that out later. But yeah. Stop wasting evenings. I'm not sure that is a good message to have, to be honest. Stop wasting your evenings. it's kind of like, I mean, you don't, I mean, it's kind of, evenings are kind of for people to relax. So if you're not interested in having like a $5 million lifestyle, then you don't have to grind like every evening to and waste them. At least I'm okay now. I haven't watched the video, so I might be jumping the gun here, but yeah. But I think that no one should feel bad about like sitting and watching Netflix and just enjoy the evenings, because it's like, no, not everyone wants to grind their life away for $1 million. It's more, some people, they are fine having their regular job, earning a regular income, and just sit and relax with maybe their girlfriend and or kids all by themselves on the couch with some snacks. Just enjoy life. Yeah. Oh well, I think that we got some pretty good ideas for finance. Now time for fitness. Go to Jeff Nippert maybe. How to build muscle and lose fat at the same time. Smartest way to get lean. It seems like at least that getting lean is one that's kind of common. How to get lean, ideally without losing muscle. I'm not 100% sure if that's actually possible, to be quite honest. I mean, I think that when you go in a calorie deficit, then in general you will lose fat. I mean, I'm not actually sure. I should probably look into it more, because I'm not 100% sure. But I believe that when you are in a calorie deficit to the point where you start getting really, really lean, then it's not. And when I say really, really lean, I talk about below 10% body fat. Then I don't think that you can lose fat without losing just a little bit of muscle as well. Not saying that you will start shrinking and lose all your muscles, because I mean, I think we all seen Sam Sulek and Chris Bumstead and Larry Wheels, Chris Williamson, and all that. Yeah, and all those where they get insanely lean. I mean, and it's not exactly like they are just becoming a stick just because that they are getting insanely lean. So lean. The smartest way to use protein. Maybe. I mean, I don't think that when it comes to using protein, I don't think that it's that complicated. I mean, if I recall correctly, then it's like one gram of protein per 1 pound of body fat, or 1.6 grams of protein per 1 kilogram, if I remember correctly, a day to build muscle. And I think anything above that, if I remember correctly, should be like more or less pointless. I even believe that I think people say that even 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body fat, or per pound of weight you have. Wow. think we're gonna start that one over. Yeah, so overall protein is quite simple. You, as far as I remember, you don't need that much to build muscle. You only need like 0.8 grams of protein per pound of weight that you have. And the kilograms is also like 1.4 or something like that. 1.4 grams per kilogram of weight that you have. If I remember correctly, it's not particularly much if you just get that every day. But I might be wrong. And as far as I understand, so getting the minimum amount of protein is the number one thing you can do to use protein correctly. The number two thing is to spread it out throughout the day. I vaguely remember there's also been some research that says that people who split their protein out on the day instead of eating it all in one sitting tend to gain more muscle as well. But again, this is not something that people need to like obsess over, like having like having 8 meals throughout the day to evenly split your protein out throughout the day. As far as I understand, as long as you just split it into breakfast, lunch, and dinner, that should be more than enough. Maybe having a protein shake or something before bed or something else to get some protein before you go to bed, since there you will just be lying there for like 8 hours before you actually get up again. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Well, maybe that is one. Maybe just how to use X supplement, maybe. Like creatine, protein. I think that's those are about it. I don't think that you need much more than that. I mean, if you just have your creatine, protein, then I think that you are more or less where you should be. I mean, all other supplements tend to be a bit, how do you say it, exaggerated on their effects. As far as I understand, I think that besides protein and creatine, there are not many other supplements that has like a big noticeable effect on building muscle, at least, as far as I'm aware of. The smartest push-pull leg routine. Maybe that can be. I'm not too well versed in literature and shots when it comes to fitness to like have to know the 100% optimal fitness routine, but maybe it could just be my fitness routine, maybe. If people are interested in that someday. I mean, the more I look at the at Jeff Nibber's YouTube page, the more I humble myself by figuring out, well, I don't know enough about fitness to do any of these videos. I mean, I probably could if I just researched it enough. I mean, I did go to university, so I know how to read up on stuff and how to understand scientific literature and such. So I can probably figure it out. But dieting, maybe. That's one I think a lot of people, they mess up quite frequently. It's like people think that when you diet you need to like just go in an extreme calorie deficit to actually lose muscle. I think that's pretty well established that everyone knows that you have to be in a calorie deficit to lose muscle, or not to lose muscle, to lose fat, or weight for that matter. You can also lose muscle if you go in a too big calorie deficit. But in general, the main secret to, I would say, my number one weapon when it comes to diet and losing fat and such is just learn how to cook. That is such a game changer in the sense that you can actually make food that is filling and that tastes good while being in a deficit, and you can tailor it specifically to what you love to eat. And it's so nice. It makes dieting so much easier when you're actually eating something that you enjoy, and you can also control the calories as much as you like. It is such a good thing when it comes to dieting, just because that you know how much you're eating something that you like to eat, and if you don't like it, you can always tailor it to something that you do. Compared to if you eat out or something, then you have to like guess, and then your only tool to really know if you're going in the correct direction or not, that is just the weight. It's just stepping on the weight and just see if you're losing weight or not, or not necessarily losing weight, because I mean, if you are a new lifter, you will gain a lot of muscle, you will lose fat, and in the end you will probably still gain weight, because muscles, they weigh more than fat, at least in the beginning. So yeah, so remember guys and girls, remember to learn how to cook, because it's such a game changer when it comes to this kind of stuff, and training and fitness and nutrition. All right, let's see, who else is there? Jeremy Ether, maybe? He's also quite a big YouTuber, or fitness YouTuber. Posture, lose belly fat, more posture, more posture. Lose belly fat, lose fat. It's a lot of how to lose fat stuff. I think I had that one right. Nope, maybe I should have that one as well, as an idea. How to use protein powder, how to lose belly fat, how to do fat loss. Yes, everything, mate. Maybe those how to do many exercise, like push-ups or pull-ups. remember that I did that at some point, and the simple trick to that is essentially just the same that you do in the gym. It's just overload, more or less, because it's like, I mean, when you go and do bench presses, for instance, you keep adding more and more and more weight to the bar, and then you can increasingly do more and more reps with lighter weights. It's essentially the same thing when it comes to pull-ups and push-ups, but people just tend to not do it because they aren't as easy to overload at home. For instance, when you do push-ups, for instance, then you don't have a push-up machine that you can keep increasing the weight on. But if you want to do more push-ups, let's say you can do 10 at the moment, for instance, then what I would encourage you to do is grab a backpack, fill it up with some water bottles. You probably have some 1 to 2 liters soda bottles lying around somewhere. Fill those up, put them in your backpack, and then put the backpack on, and then do the same that you do in the gym. Just do maybe 5 reps for 4 sets, and then you're just keeping doing that. And then once you let go of the backpack, then you will probably be surprised that you can probably do around 20 or something of that instead. Or maybe 20, maybe twice as much. It's maybe a bit extreme, but the point is that if you approach your push-ups and pull-ups in the same way as you approach like just a regular exercise in the gym or machine exercise, or then you can get the same effect and do more push-ups. I mean, you can also try to imagine that how many reps can you, for instance, do the bench press if you add like 20 kilos to the bar, for instance. That for most people that would probably be around 8 to 12 reps or something like that. For someone who is way stronger, probably way more. But then try to imagine how many reps can you do without the weight on, with just the bar. Quite a lot. And that's the same principle with push-ups and pull-ups. If you add weight to your push-ups, then you do 8 reps or something like that for 4 sets. Then if you keep increasing the weight for 8 reps and 4 sets, and then let's say you do that for half a year, then try to imagine how many push-ups you can do without the backpack filled with water in half a year. That's essentially how you increase the amount of reps you can do with pull-ups and push-ups. Just increase the weight. Yeah, I mean, it seems like that classic fitness is around the same as basic finance. It's the same it's the same basic stuff that once you understand it starts to get quite boring. It's like gaining muscle is eat at maintenance or a small surplus with the correct amount of protein, and go to the gym 3 times a week or something like that, and then you are pretty much good to go. And do you want to lose fat, then you eat a bit less, then you eat below your maintenance, and then you'll start losing fat. How much though is another question. What about productivity and such? Passive income ideas. How to invest. That's a very practical one. I think can be quite useful. Skincare, maybe. That got a lot of views. Wow. And for people who are wondering, yes, I do have a skincare routine. How to study. That one I also know. At least my tip for studying for exams was what I did when I was in university was I simply tried to what's called. I tried to be well versed in the literature that we got during the classes as much as possible throughout the year. So instead of like learning everything in a month before the exams, I tried to stay well on top throughout the year. So that just made it way easier when you came to the exam because you already knew, or you were quite sure about like 80% of what you should know. So like when you came to the exams period, then you more or less already knew everything because you have been studying, you have been reading up on everything for your classes. And then another trick was that I used flashcards as well. I just, when I was sitting in the bus or something on my way to my university, then I was just sitting on my flashcards and just sitting and learning the terms on my way to my classes. And that just made my life so much easier. So remember, stay on top while you while you're taking your classes because it becomes way easier when you come to exams period if you already know everything when you hit the exams period. So it's more the details you have to read up on. You don't have to learn new concepts because you already know them. Life lessons for teenagers. Life lessons. Seems like a good one. And you did the how to enlist again. Oh, how to think, yeah. How to think about X stuff. Like health, finance, etc. I mean, The Psychology of Money, really great book. Recommended if people haven't read it. How writing online made me a millionaire. How to find a career you love. What about Healthy Gamer? Oh, whoops. Didn't mean to remove the suggestion. Why gifted kids special needs? Reacts to have too much self-awareness. My favorite sucks them in. Feel like I have no purpose. This is a topic I probably have to read on to explain properly. maybe. That could also be a good one. All right. I think that's about it, what I can do for now. So, yeah. All right, time to make lunch.